Welcome back. It's been a busy morning here, and we'll continue to keep you updated on the earthquake in Northern California all day here on CNN. Also, in a few minutes, I have a critique of Ferguson, Missouri media coverage to share with you. But first, I want to pick up where we left off earlier in the program, talking about the incredible dangers that reporters face in war zones all around the world. Dan Rather was listening in to my earlier conversation with the heads of the AP and Global Post, and he knows so much about the risks that reporters take because he's taken some of them himself. Rather was a network news correspondent back in the 1960s. Then he became the anchor of the CBS Evening News for decades, and now he anchors Dan Rather Presents on Access TV. I was so struck by what Phil Balboni said a few minutes ago about how entering Syria is effectively suicide for a journalist. And I wonder, in all of your decades covering the world, if there's ever been something like this, something so dangerous. Is it really that the world has become more dangerous for journalists than it ever has been before?
Unquestionably, it's more dangerous for journalists today than it ever has been in all of history. Yes, journalists tend to overstate things, but I think this is not an opinion. This is a fact based on statistics. Look at the numbers. Something like 60 journalists have been kidnapped in the last 12 months. I think 80 journalists have been killed over the last 12 months. Don't hold me to those exact figures. And the chill that goes through every journalist when you hear it's suicide for a journalist to go into Syria today is palpable. Now, that doesn't mean no journalist is going to go, because journalists, being the strange breed that we are, those who aspire to be a world-class journalist, even knowing the danger, even being told ahead of time, it's suicide for a Western journalist, particularly an American journalist, to go into Syria today. Some will go.
You heard just now Gary Pruitt and Phil Balboni's comments about ransoms. And where do you come down on that? Because, again, that's another issue I don't think news organizations have had to face in the past.
Well, it's one thing for governments, such as ours and the British government, to take a stand and say, we don't pay ransom. And by making that right out front, the governments take the view it will discourage the taking of the kidnapping of journalists. But, as was stated before to you, Brian, when it's your son or daughter, when it's someone in your organizations you've worked with, it's a whole different thing. And I can't blame anyone for trying to ransom a journalist out. And I would say this, if some member of our Dan Rather Reports team was kidnapped, I'd be looking to negotiate for ransom. And you can criticize that if you want, damn if you want, but the loyalty to our people who work with us and take these great chances engenders loyalty back.
Do you know of any journalists who have traveled to Syria in the past few years? Would you send a team yourself?
Yes, we've had journalists working directly for our program who've operated in Syria, but I will say none in the last 3 to 6 months, because the situation has gotten even more dire. It's always been dangerous in Syria. Any time over the last 3 to 5 years, it's been dangerous to work in Syria. But with the ISIS group, this has become much more dangerous. Let's don't kid ourselves. That we journalists are operating in a completely new atmosphere. And we won't go down the full list, but you no longer want to be seen and known as a journalist. There was a time when that was part of your protection. Now it's part of the danger. And the best you can hope for, if you go into one of these extremely dangerous situations, is to hope and pray that you can meld into the background and not be identified as a journalist, because we can't say it often enough. Today, in many places of the world, journalists are targets.
Let me ask you about the television and the media coverage of the past few days since the horrible ISIS video was shown to the world of Jim Foley's beheading. What have you heard? What have you sensed? I know you would hear a drumbeat to war if you heard it. So have you?
Well, absolutely. Look, the war drums have been beating along the Potomac for some little while, accentuated in recent weeks and now in recent days. As a citizen, let me take my journalist hat off for a moment, but as a citizen, this worries me a great deal, because as a journalist who have seen war zones, I'm not padding my part here, but I've seen war up close, not like combatants do, But the savagery, the brutality of war, once we put the nation at war, that all of these people on television, some of whom I have enormous respect for, but it unsettles me to hear them say, listen, we the United States, we have to, quote, do something in Ukraine. We have to do something in Syria. We have to do something in the waters around China. We have to do something about what's happening in Yemen. We have to do something in Iraq. We have to do something about ISIS. What they're talking about is our combat operations. My first question to anyone who's on television saying, we have to get tough, we need to put boots on the ground, we need to go to war in one of these places, is I will hear you out if you tell me you are prepared to send your son, your daughter, your grandson, your granddaughter to that war for which you're beating the drums. If you aren't, I have no patience with you, and don't even talk to me.
It worries me too, Dan. To be completely honest, it worries me that I hear so many more voices on television that are advocating for action than I do hear voices of people who are trying to push on the brakes, And it's somewhat reminiscent to me of 2002 and 2003 in the run-up to what was of course, much, much bigger U.S. military action in Iraq than anything that's being contemplated now.
Well, there are echoes of what we went through, and those of us in journalism, and I can include myself in this, we have a lot to answer for about what we didn't do and what we did do in the run-up to the war in Iraq, which I think history will judge to be a strategic disaster of historic proportions. We journalists, including this one, we didn't ask the right questions, we didn't ask enough questions, we didn't ask the follow-up questions, we did not challenge power. And I am concerned that once again, as the war drums begin to beat and get louder and louder, that there'll be a herd mentality of saying, well, we have to go to war in Syria, we have to go to war in Ukraine. I don't think it's an overstatement to say that we need to be thinking very, very carefully and seriously about this, and journalists have a special responsibility to at least ask the right questions.
Dan Rather, I'm so grateful we got to talk about this morning. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Brian. Always good to be with you.